TV show. A lot of you have been mentioning this movie called Cell. Not the movie The Cell, which is an older movie, which also has everything to do with what's going on in the world. Cell, which is based, of course, on a novel by Stephen King, who loves to use predictive programming and really just sickening plots. If you remember in the past, I had covered Stephen King, just very disturbing stuff. A lot of photographs which were disturbing. And of course, I talked about the original book ending to the clown film It. If you're not familiar how the book ends, let's just say it has to do with a bunch of kids getting involved in some really disturbing activity with one another. And that activity, let's say it's Crowley type behavior, ends up leading to a force stopping the power of It. That's how disgusting and disturbing it is. Of course, that's not in the movie, so most people don't know it. And that video of mine, of course, I'm pretty sure, 99% sure, it was removed from my older channels because they don't want you to talk about stuff like that. Because when people found out about it, they started connecting the dots on why Stephen King's so famous, what Stephen King's role is in the New World Order. And, well, people wouldn't like that, would they? But anyway, this is the movie Cell, and this is based off the novel by Stephen King. And I'm going to show you the trailer, and then we're going to talk about the zombie apocalypse and all the things that tie into it. But let me just tell you, the film follows a father who's trying to reunite with his son after a mysterious signal is broadcast over the global cell phone network, and it turns the majority of his fellow humans into mindless, vicious animals. Take a look.
Hi, Dad.
Hey, buddy.
It's gotta be terrorists.
Don't use your cell phone.
We're gonna survive this one. The act for the good of the group as a whole. It may be the next stage of human evolution. I think now is more than temporary enemy. It's a start of a war.
Does that look oddly familiar? I mean, interesting, right? How the frequencies and the waves given off from these towers, they show you right there for yourself. It's having this effect on people, almost like turning them into zombies. Now, how in the world could something like that ever happen? Wonder where Stephen King came up with such a crazy idea, right? Being able to transform people with technology. And wait a minute, didn't I see something recently with graphene too, and how graphene reacts with cell phones?
Вы заходите, если вы можете посмотреть, видите. Такая вот непонятная хреновина. Интересно, в голове у нас то же самое творится. Когда я первый раз это обнаружил, даже страшно стало. Ну все, я выключаю. Вот, пожалуйста, все. Так не действует ничего. Как только мы опять звоним, вот он пошел вызов. Вот он, пожалуйста. Что это заявление? Я такого еще не встречал, не видел. И смотреть страшно и противно. Все, всем пока.
That's right. That's right. And remember, cell phones, a lot of cell phones, batteries are made with graphene because it's the battery life lasts longer with the graphene material in it. So not only the people holding the graphene with the phone, but some of them actually have the graphene. Yeah, they took some graphene. They don't know it, and some of them just deny it because they don't want to believe it. But it has that kind of effect where it turns the majority of its fellow humans into mindless, vicious animals. Kind of like what we're seeing in today's world, right? The extreme left. Pretty mindless, vicious animals too, right? Seen a lot of them out there. That's how they tend to act. So that's the plot of the film. And again, I mentioned earlier by Stephen King, right? Which, of course, is just a huge coincidence. And then you have weird things, right? So we've seen the uptick, obviously, over the last decade or two of zombie movies, nonstop, right? The zombie obsession, whatever it's called, the Dead Walking, Walking Dead, those types of shows over and over and over. But it must be a strange coincidence, which I've reported on before, that this agency that this agency that's pretty much in control, the Center for, I forget what the middle word is, control, disease, right? That was for the algorithm, right? We know all about them, Dr. F, all this stuff. It's interesting that they have a thing on their website about zombie preparedness, to be prepared for a zombie apocalypse. But we're supposed to take this as a joke, right? I mean, because they're such joking people, right? I mean, we go there for, well, some of us do go there for our comedy, but, you know, they have a whole serious website about all these things and diseases and toxins and stuff you need to avoid, public health, giving you, advice on what agencies to go to or emergency preparedness stuff. But they have this zombie preparedness thing there, and people look at it, they're like, that's so funny. They're just trolling people. They're just trying to put a little Halloween joke up, right? And they say, wonder why zombies and the zombie apocalypse and zombie preparedness continue to live or walk dead on our website. As it turns out, the first began as a tongue-in-cheek campaign to engage new audiences with preparedness messages, has proven to be a very effective platform, according to this organization. We continue to reach and engage a wide variety of audience on all hazards preparedness via zombie preparedness. Very clever. I mean, if you're dumb enough to fall for that, good for you. Good for you. That means you'll be dumb enough to take it, and that means you'll be one of the zombies. So you will need to be prepared. You'll be one of them, right? So what an interesting plot to the film. How the cell phone's being used, how the frequencies. And then, of course, we had this strange stuff that went on at this concert recently, too, right? Where there was a lot of vibration and frequencies being used, and a lot of people were just completely all at once, because that's normal. We've all been, like, to the grocery store.
Back on Paramount Mountain, where entertainment lives.
Something's coming.
What is that? Not this Oh my God. They killed Kitty.
Why do you gotta?
Bastards.
Good.
Welcome to Furniture Row, a group of specialty home furnishing, mattress, and linen stores, all in one convenient location. Inside, you'll find everything you need to furnish a single room or an entire home. Make the most of your lazy days with Furniture Row Living, an extensive collection of sofas, sectionals, and chairs designed to create a space that's perfect for entertaining or relaxing. Gather round the elegant tables and cozy nooks of Furniture Row Dining. With endless options, you'll be able to make mealtime all about the joy of togetherness and good food. Dream of effortless style and comfort in Furniture Row Bedroom, featuring high-quality materials and fashionable design. You'll never have to compromise craftsmanship for coziness.
Door, and we've seen like 8 people all at once have this happen to them. Oh, it's not the same call, it's a concert. Okay, we've all been to a sporting event. We've seen 8 people at the game all just convulse at the same time. No, that's never happened. Oh, but here at the concert, where, of course, we have frequencies, heavy frequencies being used in vibration, and we have people who might have some of that graph, have that happen to them. Almost like turning to zombies, and then the rest of the people, in mindless, zombie-like fashion, see these people on the ground, and they don't even care that they're laying on the ground. They walk over them because they want to get closer to the stage and the frequency and the vibration, and they're falsital. So they don't even have compassion for the fallen or want to care or lay down and say, let me help, or get down there and do whatever they can or anything, or get out of the way to make room so that people can have more oxygen. Oh, no. Like mindless zombies, they move closer to the stage. They step over to some of these people, even trampling them. Interesting, right? Interesting. Crazy what predictive programming looks like, isn't it, in today's world? This is as close as it gets to reality, but again, in a world where they take what they're planning on doing and putting it in fiction and putting it with their false idols, people who are very, very, very slow think that all of this stuff is fiction. Then they put on CNN, which is the most fictitious thing on the planet and the most comical as well. It is the funniest channel you'll ever find. I mean, Trevor Noah and these guys who are not funny. Put on like Don Lemon and some of these guys. I mean, they're such bad actors. It's almost as bad as the acting in this movie. But unfortunately, the acting in the movie and the plot in the movie is the real storyline. But they'll never get it because they don't want to get it. They like living in La La Land. La La Land pats them on the back. Big Brother tells them everything's going to be okay. And they tell them what they need to hear. Don't hurt anyone's feelings. That's the most important thing in the world. Don't hurt my feelings. I don't want to get hurt by words. Oh, okay. But are you okay with getting hurt by technology? By frequencies? By things you can't see? By the silent war? Oh, well, that doesn't really exist because I can't see it. Right. They believe in science, though, folks. But do they actually know and understand it? Clearly not. So, Cell. The movie is right out of real life, as real as it possibly be. Unbelievable. Reminder, check out the website at callforuprising.com. It's $2.99 a month. Check it out if you haven't. I highly recommend it to everybody out there. The forum itself is worth it. And of course, there's no censorship, and I put videos up over there as well. So it definitely, and it helps the channel out here as well too. So $2.99 is the price of I don't know, a burger. I mean, I don't know. I think it's something healthy. Price of 3 avocados. I don't know. But check it out if you can. I thank the Patreons for being here. Appreciate you greatly. And thank all of you for your support. God bless all of you and your families.
Did I tell you about our car from Carvana? It was so easy. I found the perfect car. Under budget, too. And I get 7 days to love.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong in the world we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. As you all know, there is more truth in the movies than there is on the actual news. We know they use the movies for predictive programming. Of course, the zombies out there think we're all crazy, even though every single thing that happens in the movies seems to come to life when it comes to tragic events and things that are done to the civilians of the world. Well, none might be more apropos to cover than the new James Bond film, A Time to Kill. Because not only is it about a bioweapon, it's also about DNA. And, well, I'm going to show you all of it, and you can connect the dots. But I want to make note that this film was filmed in 2019, which likely means it was written in 2017, maybe 2018. Filming began in 2019, and nothing began occurring in the world till, well, far after filming was completed. So kind of ironic, as you'll see here with the plot. But before I show you the plot, the villain in the film, I have to point this out because this had me in stitches at how ridiculously obvious they are, yet everyone continues to remain blind to it. The villain's name is Lucifer Safin. That's right. Lucifer Safin. So Lucifer, Satan, anyone? Right? Oh, is that a coincidence? Oh, is that to troll people? They're trolling in the James Bond film? That the villain, whose name is Lucifer Satan, really Lucifer Satan, Lucifer Safin is how you would say it, but it's really Lucifer Satan, let's be real. That the weapon of choice for a villain named after Lucifer Satan would be nanobots. That's right, nanobots. And I'm going to show you right here all about the weapon. Keep in mind here, the nanobots, the DNA targeting, as well as shedding.
Hugh has studied the blood samples I gathered from the victims of the funeral.
This is the funeral of one of the dead Spectre agents from Cuba.
And here are the members of their family who made physical contact with the corpse. We found Heracles in the blood samples of all of them.
What are they? They're nanobots.
Oh, shut up. Scrap. All predetermined, all on purpose.
Microscopic biorobots that can enter your system by the slightest contact with your skin. Programmed with DNA to target specific individuals, passing through people harmlessly before reaching its intended target. Well, since it's DNA-based with further modifications, yes. Single nucleotide variants and polymorphisms that can target a range from individuals to whole ethnicities. Infect enough people, and the people become the weapon. Infect enough people, and the people become the weapon.
Very interesting stuff in the Bond film, but predictive programming isn't real, right? And of course, one of the things they let you know about the nanoparticles is that once the nano is in you and affects you, you're done. They flat out say it. So you might not have seen the film, and I know a lot of you don't watch movies. I don't either, but I actually watched this just so I could cover this because I knew that this was the weapon in the film and I wanted to see the predictive programming. They actually kill off James Bond, which has never happened before in any of the Bond series. Bond has never died. Just like, the superhero rarely ever dies. Bond dies. Maybe they were trying to prove a point that Lucifer Satan uses a bioweapon, targets DNA with nanobots, and even James Bond can't escape.
How do I get this off? Oh, you don't, you can't. Nanobot aren't just for Christmas. Once Heracles is in your system, it's there forever. How do I get this off? Oh, you don't, you can't. Nanobots aren't just for Christmas. Once Heracles is in your system, it's there forever.
So there's no cure for what poor James Bond went through. So I'm sure you can see where we're going here. Let me read a little bit more to you because the condemned Heracles, the bioweapon, is the weapon of choice for Lucifer Satan's sinister plot in No Time to Die, which was originally developed on M's orders as a way of eradicating collateral damage from M16 assignments. So the government actually are the ones who create this weapon, which is used by Lucifer Satan. Starting to see where I'm going here. Heracles is a swarm of nanobots, which can be programmed with target DNA infecting and killing the chosen target on contact. So they can use these nanobots to target specific individuals. But wait, there's more. Heracles can come into contact with anyone other than their designated target harmlessly, but effectively turns them into a carrier, making their touch deadly to the target or anyone sharing their DNA. The film shows, listen to this, the film shows the weapon's deadly effects spreading between family members on contact, but it's explained that it could be refined to target anyone from a specific individual to entire ethnicities. So entire races, entire large groups of people. Interesting. And would you say that what they're referencing there about Heracles, and you come in contact with anyone other than their designated target harmlessly, but effectively turns them into a carrier? That couldn't have anything to do with shedding, right? And of course, I'm talking about how a snake sheds its skin. What else would I be referring to? Safin's plan involves releasing Heracles globally, having programmed it to wipe out anyone he deems a threat. Wow, imagine if that got in the wrong hand. Oh, right, it's a movie. I was thinking for a second, can you imagine that the government had a sinister plan to start a new world order? Could you imagine that, how crazy that would be in real life? If the government had a plan to start a new world order and wanted to depop, that would be crazy anyway, that they would think like that. But imagine that they did for a second, right? And then they released Heracles globally, trying to wipe out anyone that they deem a threat. Including entire security services, it says. It means millions could be killed without even knowing the death blow is coming. Boy. There are more than a few echoes of the global threat that is wielded by Hydra and Marvel's take on the espionage genre The Winter Soldier. Captain America sequel Hydra unearthed after years in the shadows, having hidden within various governments and institutions, including S.H.I.E.L.D., blah, blah, blah. So they go on. I mean, this type of predictive program is in a ton of these types of films. They say Just As No Time to Die's Heracles was developed by the head of M16 and intended to help their agents ensure global security. Right. So all you have to do is tell the public the CIA or MI6 has come out with this and decided that, hey, we're creating it for you guys to protect you guys from the big bad bully in case something ever happens, with like Osama bin Laden or somebody like that. So, we'll have this on standby, just waiting to say hi, right? Like Vanilla Ice says. But in reality, these idiots would believe that it was for their benefit to protect them. In reality, oopsie daisy, it could slip right out of their hands, or could it just slip out of, they pretend like it could slip out of their hands and some type of organization that's against the people of the world could get it and then do harm to them. Or they could just slip out of the government's hands and they can go oopsie daisy on purpose. And then something like this could happen. But this is just a movie. I'm giving the review, of course, of this Bond movie here. Woo. Both weapons, they say, fall into the wrong hands. Oh, they're going on to talk about the other movie in this article here. But as Bond tells, at the end of the film here, Bond ends up dying because he gets contaminated by it. So the blood of someone else gets on his lover. This blah blah blah. But you get the point, right? And these are films that are created beforehand. So, I wonder, people are like, well, Hollywood has nothing to do with any of this stuff. Yeah, no, this guy just wrote it. He just came up with this in his basement. And then 2 years, actually, when the film was released, this stuff began happening. Man, that's a crazy coincidence. I mean, wait, what began happening? Right, I'm thinking of something else. Anyway, you all get the point here. So this is the Bond film. I wanted to show you some of the clips. And, of course, the irony of the villain being Lucifer Satan, releasing the bomb, or the bioweapon of the bomb, on society, even killing off the hero James Bond, who is supposed to be like unkillable. That's the whole point of the Bond movies. He escapes all sorts of crazy, bizarre situations. No matter what the sticky predicament is, he gets out of it, except when it comes to nanobots, folks. It's like they say, there ain't no escaping the nanobots. Boy, it'd be scary if that was a real thing in real life. But thankfully, it's not. Thankfully, MI6 and CIA, get your eye in there, are all protecting us. And of course, in the film, they use the bio eye, or whatever they want to call it. They use the eye symbolism on a pillow, nonetheless, as a device which is communicating and, being an all-seeing eye, watching Bond around at the party scene that he's in. So, these types of things are just coincidental, of course. It's just great writing, great acting, and that's what Hollywood is based off of, right? They don't know anything in advance, and they're definitely not telling you. Can you make it up, folks? The answer is no, you can't. No, you can't. Reminder, check out the website at callforanuprising.com. It's $2.99 a month. Check it out if you haven't. I think if you haven't, if some people are having a tough time understanding some certain things that might be going on in the world, again, this is another video you can use to share to them, to show them. I know that sometimes in the movies it's hard because people are like, yeah, just like the movies. That's their programming. That's what they're naturally going to say because that's been programmed into them, just like anything else that's been programmed into them. Just like you hear people say regurgitated quotes that make absolutely no sense, like you do you. Like what? Who else would you be? Who else would you be doing? Be your best self. What? Well, who else would I be other than just nonsense. Uprising, welcome to today's show. I've covered this before, but I want to get into more detail about it because there's so many people out there that are falling for this easy to be seen deception. There's people who are applauding and saying, look, we're outing all of these, psychopaths in politics, in Hollywood, all these men who are exposing themselves to women. And everybody's falling into this narrative and believing that these people are being outed, that the New World Order is crumbling. I mean, you really have to have small, minimal, or no discernment at all to think that this is something that's naturally occurring. Remember, they control the media, right? Number one, most important thing, right? To realize with all these types of agendas that get pushed, they control it. It's not getting put on the news unless they want it there. The real things that happen in this world, the real abductions, and all this stuff that happens with these children who go missing, you'll never hear about that on the news for a reason, because we know who's doing it. We know who's behind it. We know what rings and are behind these things. You'll hear agenda after agenda after agenda. That's all that the news is. This agenda right now, which is exposing, quote unquote, all of these men who are making advances at women, at younger men in Hollywood, in politics, groping, pinching rear ends, all this stuff. This list continues to grow every day. And it's not a coincidence that all of these people who have, supposedly been harassed are all coming forward at the same time. That should be enough to raise a red flag, right? Or people will go, well, why all of a sudden after 20 years, 30 years, why all of a sudden are all these people coming forward? There's no, evidence at all, right? Some woman comes forward now or some person says Matt Lauer did this. Matt Lauer's instantly fired. It's all part of a plan. It's all part of an agenda because half these people wouldn't even be able to prove that something happened 20 years ago, that somebody harassed them or did something. And these people are losing their jobs, making multi-million dollars. NBC's just pulling the plug. There is a greater picture behind this, and that's how you have to think in this world, is what are they trying to do? What is the message behind it? Who is behind it and why? And we know who is behind it. Now listen to this list before I talk about why they're doing this, what the purpose of this is, and the oath that these people take to one another, to the brotherhood, to the secret societies. This list includes, and this is just since October, Harvey Weinstein, George Bush, President George H.W. Bush, Kevin Spacey, Brett Ratner, Michael Oreskes, who was NPR top editor, Louis C.K., Roy Moore, Al Franken, Charlie Rose, U.S. Rep. John Connors, Def Jam Records mogul Russell Simmons, Pixar co-founder John Lasseter, Garrison Keller, and others. These are just ones that I'm finding right now off of a list. I'm sure there's been others. and other people have come forward. Now, what you have to understand is that these people take an oath. They swear to an oath, to a brotherhood, okay? Once they get to the third degree of Freemasonry, and all of these people in Hollywood are way beyond that. The majority of them are 33rd degree Masons. They're way beyond the third degree. But once you get to the third degree, these are the types of things that they do. These are the types of oaths that they have to take. They say, I furthermore promise and swear that I will stand and abide by all laws, rules, and regulations of the Master Mason's degree and the lodge, of which I may hereafter become a member. Say further that I acknowledge and obey all due signs and summons sent to me from a Master Mason. Further, I will always aid and assist all poor, distressed, worthy Master Masons, their widows, orphans, and such. Further, I will keep a worthy brother Master Mason's secrets forever, when communicated to and received by me as such, murder and treason excepted. I mean, all of these oaths are within the third degree. Further, I will not cheat wrong, nor defraud a Master Mason, nor his lodge, nor a brother of this degree. So this is an oath that they're swearing to one another, that they will never go against them, they'll never turn their backs on them, and when called upon by a Master Mason or called upon by a brother in Masonry or in these secret societies, they will do what is asked of them. Now, what's occurring here is obviously a part of an agenda, right? And people are going, well, what is it? Well, there's a lot of things behind it. 1984, the book, or if you've seen the movies, everybody knows that it is predictive programming at its finest. They are showing you exactly, and programming people who read those books in school, read that book in school, showing you what the future holds with AI, with totalitarianism, a society that is no longer has freedoms, that is at the mercy of the totalitarian system, at the mercy of the government. Now, in 1984, people always talk about, well, Big Brother's spying and the surveillance. We already have that, right? We're all aware. We're completely spied on. There is no privacy. There's people listening right now to this, right? And deciding if I'm a threat or not, or what they're going to do, and shut the channel down, do all that kind of stuff, right? But sometimes it's better for them to sit in the shadows than actually pull the trigger, because it gives channels like me and people like me more credibility. But it wasn't just about surveillance. In that story, if you remember, and if you haven't seen it, the main character, Winston Smith, he has to sneak out to even date or to hook up with, or whatever you want to say, to be with this woman that he was in love with. Because they weren't even allowed to do that at that point. And that's what's coming next. You're not going to be allowed to, we know in China you can only have a certain amount of kids and things like that. It's going to be way worse than that. You're not going to be allowed to be with somebody. You're not going to be allowed to be freely who you want to be with. And they're telling you this stuff because they're saying, look at all these men. Look at all these perverts. Look what they're doing. Right? They're making people disgusted with this stuff, and the things that the men are saying to these women. It's targeting males, right? White males, men in position of power. So they're saying these people are abusing the positions of power, right? Oh, they're celebrities, and they just feel like they're so much more powerful than everybody else. And they want to strip that type of mindset and say, we're all on a level playing field, and the government knows what's in the best interest for you. They know who you should be with, what you should be doing, right? We see all this stuff with dating websites, and they'll find you the perfect match based on the fact that you both like chocolate chip cookies. Oh my goodness, my match must be out there because we both like Frankfurters, huh? And people go along with this, and we'll figure it out via computer and AI intelligence. All this stuff fits into their narrative of control. And the freedoms that you think that we have, which really don't exist, this freedom, illusion, I should say, of freedom. But just wait, because this is going to be not only, them controlling who you can be with, what's safe for you, what's in your best interest, because everybody's going to submit all of these freedoms to the government. They already are, right? They have people who want my channel shut down, yet believe in free speech for themselves, but not for others. We have all of this stuff going on with free speech and the removal of it. And now this fine line between what's free speech and what's hate speech. Blurred lines, but they can decide what it is. Criticizing the system, hate speech. Criticizing something you don't agree with, hate speech. If it isn't the do without will mindset, it's hate speech. Let everyone do what they want, and you can say whatever you want. be on board with everybody doing any and everything that they want to do. So what you're seeing here isn't coincidental that all these people are getting victimized or getting outed in Hollywood and in politics. This is the Masons who obviously have the blueprint written. All of these secret societies have the blueprint written for what needs to happen next to get where they want to get, right? And that is the removal of free speech. That is total control, government controlling every single thing, including where you pee, when you're allowed to pee, what girl you're allowed to talk to, whether or not you're allowed to be in a relationship with somebody. They're going to control all of it. And the question that they have to answer is, how do we get from A to Z? What things do we put in place in the middle to desensitize people, to get them on board with this plan? And things like this are exactly what they do. So they get together and they go, listen, we're all going to have to take bullets. If you're somebody who's in a position of power, you're going to take a bullet in the media, right? And they go, who cares? See, the common person out there goes, there's no way that it's fixed. They wouldn't let their reputation get killed. They don't care about their reputation. You don't think Louis C.K. and all these guys are still rubbing shoulders with each other at Bohemian Grove and in these secret societies? You think they care what the goy, us, they view us as goy? You think they care what we think of them? Oh, Louis C.K. is now a pervert. He's a piece of crap. You think he cares? He's going to picture. I know what I'm doing for the Brotherhood. I know what the future holds for you people, but I'm going to be rewarded inside the Brotherhood. I'm going to continue to make millions of dollars. And even if my career ends now, it doesn't matter. They'll continue to pay me because they print money. And we allow them to print money. We allow the Federal Reserve to just print money. So all of these people who are getting outed, they've been approached. And they've been told, this is what you're going to do. And this is why. Because the greater picture of totalitarianism, of total control, of freedoms being gone, of the government dictating what you can and can't say, all of this stuff fits in the narrative, and we need you to take a bullet or fall on the sword for us. And they say yes. They don't go, no, wait a minute. I don't want people out there, the goy, to think that I'm a scumbag. They could care less. They look at us lower than feces. They think that we're literally lower than cattle and dung. That's what they think of us. So they don't care about their image. Their job in the public spotlight is to push narratives, is to do what they're supposed to do. Their number one goal and their loyalty is to Lucifer and to the Brotherhood and the secrets of the secret societies. They swear on these oaths. They take these oaths. And the goal is to get this pretty much to 1984, right? And we already have all this stuff in place, but now, and the media is already saying it, right? They're saying, oh, look at these men, their positions of power, how disgusting. They're taking advantage of people because they're famous. And they're going to start stripping those types of things. Let's tell everybody that it's an equal playing field, that we're all even. It doesn't matter if you're a celebrity or you're a regular Joe, working the 9 to 5, because they're pushing self-empowerment, which is what the Masons believe. They're their own gods. They want everyone to believe that and feel that and think that they are amazing and great and better than everybody else. And they don't have to bow down to a celebrity. But they're going to turn to the government to take care of them and protect them. They're going to turn to the government because they're going to believe the government has what's in their best interest in mind, and it's not. It's the stripping and removal of all of these freedoms that we think exist, which don't anyway. And that's what this is about. This is not some thing where everybody just grew a conscience all of a sudden and is going, I'm going to out Matt Lauer. I'm going to out Charlie Rose. We don't need an investigation or anything like that. I'm just going to call in. I'm going to say, hey, George Bush pinched my butt. Okay? And there's, oh, you think George Bush, like that would ever really happen if George Bush wasn't leading by example for the rest of the Brotherhood? That's exactly what Bush is doing. Look at him. He's a corpse in a wheelchair. Think he cares of people's viewpoint at this stage? He's probably got another year or two before he, transfers his soul to another body, as they believe. The reason he's involved in it is to set an example for the rest. And say, look, even me, I was a president. And I'll still come out and I'll still say, yeah, I pinched the girl's butt. And people will still applaud me when I enter a room and think I'm wonderful. Because it doesn't really matter. Because he doesn't really care what the perception is. Right? Otherwise, if there was something that really did happen, you don't think George Bush would be able to get it taken out of the media? You don't think that the editors, all these editors at all of these, networks and all these magazines all attend the Bohemian Grove, all of them. The editors You know, you think of Bohemian Grove, you think of these secret meetings at the Bilderberg and stuff like that, and people are always like thinking, oh, who's there? Oh, a senator or so-and-so. The editors of these magazines and these news narrative, they're told, listen, the narrative this year is to push the race war, push trans, right? These are things, and then the guy at CNN, the guy at CBS, the guy at the New York Times, they all agree. So anything that comes to their desk that's about that stuff gets greenlighted. Something like George Bush pinching butts, they would go, yeah, we're probably not going to put that in there because somebody's going to be pretty upset at the CIA and George Bush himself. But no, they want it in there, and that's why it's out there. That's why this is a main narrative now. And every day people are coming forward as these men are sexually harassing women at the workplace, right? So we're getting feminism, women's empowerment, taking the power away from men, or whatever the perceived power that people think that these celebrities have. And little by little, freedoms are being removed, and it's turning into 1984, which is already going on. So don't fall for this stuff, because any of these things that go on are not by coincidence. This is all part of the oath, and this is all part of the oath that the Brotherhood takes, because to them, the greater picture is the New World Order. They don't care about themselves with their names getting slandered in the mud, because the reward for them here on Earth, which they believe, is greater. Because these guys, it might damn their careers, but they're still going to make millions of dollars. They're going to be paid off. They're taken care of. All the other people in the Brotherhood are patting them on the butt, saying, great job, Louis C.K., great job, Matt Lauer, for doing this for the Brotherhood and not complaining. And it's great. They get looked at as, in higher regard by these people. This is all part of a plan. All of these people who were victims didn't just get together on an AOL group chat and say, you know what, we should all do this now, October 2017. It doesn't matter if the guy showed his penis to you back in 1992. Now's the time. You feeling courageous today? And all of a sudden, all these people feel courageous at the same exact time, and they all come out at the same exact time, day after day. Stories from 10 years, 20 years, 5 years, a year. Not yesterday. The story isn't yesterday Matt Lauer sexually harassed somebody. Or yesterday, Louis C.K. exposed himself. This is stuff that's apparently happened years ago. And nobody finds it cool. Nobody's looking at it going, wow, how come all at once? Oh, so what is it, the domino effect? One person came forward, and then all these people who were supposedly sexually harassed or victimized just all of a sudden grew a pair. And overnight they said, hey, you know what? I'm coming forward tomorrow. I'm calling the New York Times. Huh? That's not how it works. And it would never work that way. All of this is happening at the same time. These people, didn't all just wake up and drink courage juice and decide to be courageous. These are nameless people who are making the accusations, faceless people. And all these stars and celebrities, these false idols, are taking the bullet for the Brotherhood. This is about the greater picture for the New World Order. And this is more censorship. It's more 1984. It's more free speech being taken away, and it's more totalitarianism and total control for our government. That's what all this leads to. It doesn't lead to anything else. This isn't about people standing up for doing what's right all of a sudden because everybody just all of a sudden feels brave because one other person spoke up, so now they feel like they can speak up. And all these guys just happen to be sexual harassers, right? Define what's sexual harassment. A guy can't hit on a girl anymore. You see the fine line here? Guy can't hit on a girl. It's sexual harassment. So, okay. So you go up to a girl who might be single, you can't hit on her. You can't say, oh, you look beautiful. Oh, that's sexual harassment, right? Like a guy at work and just say, hey, you look great today. I love your outfit. There's something in passing, right? The girl can go, that's sexual harassment, and go tell the boss. So what's the greater picture? The greater picture is what are they taking away? What are they removing? What can you and can you not say? And people are going to be on board. They're going to go, yeah, that's sexual harassment. Keep it in your pants. Don't tell someone they're beautiful. That's crossing a line. And they don't see what they're trying to do here. It's pretty easy to see. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families. This is a call for an uprising. We welcome you to today's show and ask those of you who have not subscribed to please subscribe to our YouTube channel as we continue to expose the satanic Illuminati agenda and the ushering in of the Antichrist. Today's show, I want to expose another symbol. It's a symbol you'll see very often. It's a symbol that obviously, as most of these do, has dual meanings. That is the Vulcan salute. This salute is most, or I should say best known for the salute that is done by the character Spock with the V in the middle. It almost looks, in a sense, like a different way of doing the peace sign. Okay, I want to talk about what it means so that you can be aware of what these symbols mean, because it's important to know. The Vulcan, or Vulcan, I should say, was a sun deity who was associated with fire, thunderbolts, and light. Obviously, we know what thunderbolts and lightning stand for in Satanism. The thunderbolt, or the lightning bolt, is associated with Satan. In Luke 10:18, it states, "And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven." That Satan's fall from heaven, he resembled lightning falling from the sky. So Vulcan is also a sun deity. They had a festival to honor him, which was called Vulcania, in which human sacrifices were offered. What a surprise. More human sacrifice related to Freemasonry, to Satanism and the occult. Vulcan also married Venus. Venus is another name for the devil, for Lucifer. You'll also find Vulcan adored, honored, respected in Freemasonry under the name of Tubal-Cain. There's reference to him in the Masonic quiz book. It says, who is Tubal-Cain? He is the Vulcan of the pagans. So in Masonry, the name Tubal-Cain is the password for the Master Mason or the third degree Freemason. A quote from Manly P. Hall in his book, "When the Mason learns that the key to the warrior on the block is the proper application of the dynamo of living power, he has learned the mystery of his craft. The seething energies of Lucifer are in the hands, and before he may step onward and upward, he must prove his ability to properly apply energy. He must follow in the footsteps of the forefather Tubal-Cain, who with the mighty strength of the war god hammered his sword into a plowshare." This symbol is also used by rabbis in the Hebrew tradition. The hand split down the center represents the fingers on each side of the V in devil, as the initials DE and IL represent the fingers. The initial V is the 22nd letter in the alphabet, which is a sacred number in Hebrew numerology. It also corresponds in the Tarot pack, which you'll see the card here, which has the devil on it, making this sign with his hands. You'll see musicians do it, okay? And that's the thing, our brains perceive this a different way. So if you see musicians doing this or actors doing this, your first thought is, oh, they must be a Star Trek fan, or it must be some kind of, Star Trek thing. Because we've all been conditioned that that is the Vulcan hand sign from Star Trek. I've never even watched the show, and I know that that's what the symbol means, at least in our culture, that's what it stands for. But you have to think deeper than that. Why was Winston Churchill making this hand symbol? Winston Churchill, who we know is a Freemason, a 33rd degree Freemason. Why do you see other celebrities doing it? Why do you see them covering their chest holding the V, randomly doing it? Why do you see musicians holding it up? Why do you see Barack Obama doing it with his hand, waving, making the Vulcan V? He's not at a Star Trek movie premiere. He's at the White House doing it. It can also be found on the gravestone of Chief Rabbi Solomon Kuhn. You'll also find the hand symbol used in Kabbalah, okay, which is another form of sorcery and witchcraft. It has nothing to do with Judaism. Okay, it is a cover. It is mysticism. It is satanic and demonic to perform and practice the Kabbalah. You'll see that symbol there as well. So you'll see it flashed around all the time. Album covers, celebrities who you would think, why are they holding up that? Doesn't that mean something with Star Trek or some, sci-fi thing? No, it doesn't. It's not what it stands for. They're paying homage to Vulcan, okay, who human sacrifices were done for, who is known to end up marrying Lucifer. And like I said, in Freemasonry, Vulcan represents Tubal-Cain. Tubal-Cain is thought very highly of in Freemasonry, very highly of. And he is the code. That is the name they use. Okay, one of the passwords they use for the Master Mason degree. So you'll see it here in tarot cards. You'll see it, flashed around. Winston Churchill doing it way before Spock or Star Trek was ever invented. So you can see that the symbol, okay, people's hands don't randomly just open to a V. I mean, I could barely even get my fingers to do that. Right? It's not like this easy symbol where you would wave, your hand just would fly open into a V shape. It's a deliberate symbol, just like the peace sign is a deliberate symbol. You go out of your way to do it. So Obama is going out of his way to flash it, and so are these other musicians on magazine covers and at movie premieres on the red carpet. Okay, they're not just coincidentally doing it. You also can see the hand symbol put together with the pyramid in the middle, and then making the V as well. This is also connected to it, the hands triangle with the V's, which you'll see involved in Freemasonry. You'll see that symbol. Like I said, you'll see that exact symbol on tombstones. On this specific tombstone of the rabbi, you'll see it in Kabbalah because it's a mystical hand symbol. It's got nothing but satanic meaning behind it. And again, this is how they trick the masses. This is how they get away with doing what they do in plain sight. Because nobody's looking for these things. Nobody speaks in symbols. They do. They operate in code, whether it's secret handshakes, whether it's secret hand symbols. This is another one, the Vulcan sign. So if you see it, understand what it means. Okay? Look no further than the tarot card, seeing the devil on the tarot card with the upside down pentagram over his head, and he's doing the V. He's doing the Vulcan V with his hand. You have to realize that when they draw things or do stuff like that, it's not coincidentally done. Somebody didn't just say, okay, and let me finish with drawing the hand this way, right? And when you see all these religious statues and things like that, they're strategically done that way. They're strategically making them do these satanic hand symbols. So they're everywhere. They're deliberately strategic. They're not just randomly going, hey, let me pay homage to Spock. Okay? A rapper isn't just in the middle of nowhere taking a photo paying homage to Spock. There's obviously deep occultic meaning behind the symbols. That's why it's important to constantly look for these signs. Okay? It's important to know what they mean, because this is how they are always operating, right in front of our faces, flashing these symbols to one another, communicating to one another, making a mockery of us, but getting away with what they continue to get away with because the masses are looking in a different direction. They refuse to believe this because they've created a society of prideful people who, oh, well, we didn't learn that in school, so people who think that are crazy conspiracy theorists. That's because the population is so dumbed down and so prideful and arrogant. You go get your master's degree. You spend 30 years of your life educating yourself on falsehoods and lies. Meanwhile, to see what's going on, look no further than to look to the hand symbols. But if you tell somebody that they operate and these hand symbols mean this or mean that, they laugh at you and you say, wow, they can learn all of this stuff that means nothing and regurgitate it over and over and pass all these tests, and grow inside of the satanic matrix. But their brain can't process the fact that these hand symbols are not, coincidences, that they're strategically placed, they're strategically done, that there's meaning behind them. That's how slow people are. They refuse to believe this stuff, that everything is just a coincidence when they pose on these magazine covers or newspaper articles where 50 photographers are taking pictures of the president. You think he just randomly is throwing up the Spock sign saying, hey, I'm going to pay homage to Mr. Spock. That's how these people work. This is how they operate. You have to start thinking that way. You have to start watching the world around you, looking for symbols and codes because they're everywhere, constantly being used by these elitists, by this satanic secret network, by these Freemasons. And it's not hard to see if you look for it. If you can train your mind not to be in an alpha state all the time, if you can get off your devices, get off your phones, okay, stop being distracted by technology and look around you and see what is going on, you will see everything because it's hidden in plain sight. It's right in front of you. Okay, God is trying to wake all of us up to show us this satanic network that controls and runs our world. The Bible warns about this. The Bible warns about the end times and what will be going on. And it is going on. And we can see it if you look for it. So start looking for it. Stop believing in coincidences because there aren't any. They will let you know that they're a part of this secret society. They'll let you know because they're showing it to you. But nobody questions it. Nobody goes up to them and says, why are you flashing this? What are you doing? They're not afraid to hide it. Just nobody asks the questions because everybody's just too busy asking them for their autographs or kissing their rear end because the false idol worship is just at an all-time sick level. Our society just worships the ground that these people walk on. That people cry when they see these celebrities like Justin Bieber. They start breaking down and crying. I mean, it's sick. It's really, really sick. But they'll let you know who they're working for. All you have to do is look at what they flash up. Look at their hands. Look at the symbols on their jewelry that they wear. Look at how they pose on magazine covers. They're letting you know exactly what's going on and who they work for. So this is the Vulcan hand sign. It does not represent Spock. I'm sorry if that breaks some people's hearts out there. Yes, that does not mean if you've ever held it up, you're not going. I'm not saying you're burning in hell from holding it up. Too many people see these expose videos on these symbols, and then they feel like, wait, I've always done the peace sign. Does that mean I'm going to hell? No, I'm not saying that. Obviously, you didn't know what it meant. It means refrain from using it, yes. If it's something you flash all the time, try not to flash it. Work on trying not to flash these symbols because they are satanic. They can invoke spirits and do all sorts of stuff, I'm sure. Okay, but you don't want to pay homage to Satan through showing these symbols or flashing these symbols. That's what it's about. Getting to realize what they are and then looking for the people that are doing it so you can know who's involved in this secret society and this network. And it's pretty much everybody whose face is on television, because you're not getting there unless you're a part of this secret society and this networking system, this satanic networking system. So try and refrain from using it. You're not condemned if you've done it before. Obviously, people who listen might be Star Trek fans. If you are, I'm not condemning you to hell, and no one else is either. Okay, just be aware of what these symbols mean and what they stand for. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families. May peace be with you. This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Today I want to expose the new song Starboy by the artist known as The Weeknd. Another song that comes out, another music video filled with satanic imagery, sending subliminal messaging, and it comes out at the perfect time for these Satanists as they begin the fall equinox and the period running up to Samhain. This video is all about sacrifice and human sacrifice, letting you know exactly what goes on in Hollywood. The Weeknd letting you know how he's become a star boy, by sacrifice. He sacrificed his soul, and he lets you know in this video that he's done that. He lets you know, pray for love. We just pray for cars. That's what he says. 100 on the dash, get me close to God. We don't pray for love. Cross, so people think that they're automatically Christian because there's crosses in the video, just like we see Johnny Depp, who's a Satanist, wearing a cross all the time. Now, the witches and the Wiccans and the Satanists wear crosses. They don't only just turn them upside down because it has meaning and use in rituals. Now, this video is just another one of these videos, just like the one I just did on the band Panic at the Disco. It's another one of these videos where you see spiritual warfare is real and it's going on, yet people still see this stuff and they get mesmerized by the music. They go into an alpha state and they don't see all the symbols around us, especially atheists. They can't see constantly these musicians letting you know that this is spiritual warfare. There's the cross symbolism, there's the death and the rebirth symbolism in the video, and I'm going to get into it right now, but it's everywhere. It amazes me that people don't wake up and realize we're in spiritual warfare, and that's exactly what's going on. So the video begins with this guy, The Weeknd, I guess the lead singer of The Weeknd, whatever his name might be. I guess his name is Weeknd, sitting at a table. A man across from him puts on a mask. He comes over. He puts a bag over his head. The singer, is tied to the chair, and he kills him. He suffocates him with a bag over his head. Representing what? It's representing a sacrifice that has been made. Now, who is the one that sacrificed? He is telling you that he has sacrificed his soul in this video for stardom, to become a star boy. That's what he's telling you, because this guy is now one of the new rising stars in the occult, one of the new rising stars in the music industry after last year releasing a few catchy songs that people like. This guy has now become mainstream, and this is his big push. He's showing you in this video that he's made the sacrifice. He's the one who gets sacrificed. Then he wakes up from it. And we begin to see the hints telling you that he's made the sacrifice. And what he sacrificed at the end of the day is his soul. I'm sure along with making human sacrifices, because that's a part of being in the Illuminati, of being in the cult, and of being in the synagogue of Satan. So he gets up after being killed and murdered. Now he finds himself in some other world, but it's still in his house. He's still there. He gets up. He's walking through his hall. We see a photo on the wall, a futuristic, of course, apocalyptic world, a different world, as we see hinted all the time about this apocalyptic world, whether it's Fifth Harmony, every band, every movie, letting you know about the apocalyptic world. You can even see, ironically, in the sky what looks like a chemtrail. I'm sure it's not really supposed to be, but I just thought that was funny that you can see something that looks like a chemtrail in the sky. But what you notice here in the picture is the Black Panther. Now, the panther is a symbol of power. It's a symbol of protectiveness, but it's a symbol that's used in the occult. The Black Panther, to the occult, includes astral travel. It represents astral travel. It's a symbol of death and rebirth. The understanding of death, the reclaiming of one's power, the ability to know the dark, power without soul reference, reclaiming power. Those are the definitions of what the Black Panther represents to the occult. So it's death and rebirth, which is a common theme that we see from them. We see the Ouroboros, we see all these symbols. It always talks about a rebirth because their belief and how they feel about constantly reinventing themselves and being reborn. The death and the rebirth, the rising of the phoenix. So that is what the Black Panther represents, and we'll see that. We'll see him again in the video as the video concludes. So we see this guy, The Weeknd, walking through his home, and of course, he's walking up to a glowing cross. And what do we see next? We see a pullback, and we see the cross right in his all-seeing eye. So a zoom in right eyeball, he grabs the cross off the wall, carries it upside down, and begins destroying his home, destroying his past, destroying everything that is in his house, all his awards and his accomplishments. He begins destroying them. Now remember, he's died in this video. He has made the sacrifice. He has sold his soul. So he's destroying all of these things. And then he walks to his bedroom, and a black cat is sitting on his bed. No, it's not because he likes Felix the cat. Okay, the black cat, as most of you know, black cat is symbolic to witches and to Satanism and black magic. There's many meanings to what the black cat represents in occultism, but the main meaning of the black cat, it represents sacrifice. I'm sure you've all heard all the times of black cats getting kidnapped or abducted around the Halloween season for ritual sacrifices and those sorts of things that the witches and the Satanists do. So we see him die. We see him sacrificed, okay, sacrificing himself. Then we actually see the black cat, which represents sacrifice to these Satanists. We see it sitting on the bed. It's not randomly there. It's not his personal cat. It's not Felix the cat. Okay, this isn't his cat. He didn't bring his cat from home to the video and say, I really want my cat in it. It's all symbolism. It's all there. This isn't artistically written so somebody would go, oh, interesting, a cat. Oh, the cat's jumping off the bed. Maybe he's going to have friskies. It's symbolism. It's deliberately there. They're telling you this stuff about the rebirth, about his death and his rebirth into Satanism. That's what it represents. Now we see him go down to his cars. Remember the lyrics about the cars and how he doesn't pray for love. He prays to God for cars. We see him get in the car as he sings his song. And who's next to him in the car? The Black Panther is sitting next to him in the front of the car. Now remember what I said about the Black Panther. It represents astral travel. It represents the death and the rebirth. So this man is telling you in this video, even with the symbolism of the cross, right, representing Jesus Christ dying and his rebirth, he's telling you that he spiritually died and now has had a satanic rebirth because he's sacrificed his soul in this video. For what? For stardom. To become a star, boy, and that's what he's become. And that's exactly what this video is telling you. Now, I know this wall will be filled with people who love The Weeknd, who can't grasp this stuff, and I'll just go on rants. Oh, this is the funniest thing they've ever heard. I'm embarrassed for you. People wrote on the video that I did about Panic at the Disco, saying it's the funniest thing they've ever seen, as if that bothers me in some way. I'm embarrassed for all of these people who watch this and think that this is some artistic visual. They're telling you about all of this stuff you can find for yourself. This goes back to the Bible. We know about human sacrifice, how it has occurred through so many generations, through so many different fake religions, that human sacrifice was done and these rituals were done. Satanism is still going on, and these celebrities sell their souls for stardom, star boy. They sell their souls to become rich and famous. And to do so, they make sacrifices. You hear people all the time say, oh, it took a lot of sacrifice to get to the top. Yeah, now it's become a passive word, right? Oh, man, I made sacrifices to make sure I could, get that raise at my job or something stupid like that. It's become a mainstream term. They're telling you about sacrifice. It's turned into a word that people use to describe, putting a little work in. They're letting you know that they commit these sacrifices because they do. It takes sacrifice to get to the top. Literally for these people. Human sacrifice. That's what it takes. So he's showing you in this song that you see him murdered and killed and sacrificed, and then you see his rebirth through him taking up the cross and using that as the weapon of destruction, right? When he's in the car with the panther, it cuts back to the cross lying on the ground, saying that he's left that behind, that he has had a rebirth now into Satanism. He has crossed over. That is what it means. A spiritual rebirth into Satanism, into occultism. The black cat sitting on the bed is representative of what this is all about. Sacrifice. So he's showing you that with the cross. You see it in his eyeball. It's deliberately, they do that shot of the reflection of the cross in his eye. It's deliberate. It's blatantly done. It's not a coincidence. It's not somebody going, ooh, let's zoom in on the eye. No one's done that before. We see it in all these videos. He uses the cross to destroy his home. It's representative of him destroying his past and having a spiritual rebirth. And that's what the panther represents with him, the spiritual rebirth. So this is The Weeknd, another one of these stars, or so-called stars, whatever you want to call false idols. His song Star Boy, letting you know that this is what he's done to become a star boy. And now this guy is going to be one of the next big things. He's going to be like Drake, or I don't know what class of music this fits into. It's different kind of music. I don't know. But he's going to be big. He's going to blow up. And you can see all these guys who are big-time musicians have videos like this. Eminem, all of them, where they show you the sacrifices. They show you this. It's not some catchy artistic thing. They're showing you literally the sacrifice, literally them selling their souls to Satan for these successes. And he even says in his video, he prays to God, not for love, but he prays to God for cars, for materialistic things, because that's what these people are all about. And that's what this video is about. Now, don't listen to the video. I know people say, well, you say don't listen, I want to listen. If you're a kid, because there's a lot of cursing and all sorts of language in the video, so I don't recommend anybody check it out. But I hope people who are looking for this video and stumble upon this and are coming over to Slayer, I hope for 5 seconds they can just use their brain and connect the dots. But I know videos like this, which are hard for them to comprehend, because they don't believe in Satanism. They don't believe in the occult. They don't believe in witchcraft. They don't believe in any of it. They believe in nothing except their iPhones and Pokemon and the things they see around them. But hopefully some people see this and it helps them wake up to realize that they're being played, that they're in spiritual warfare, and these musicians are letting you know in these music videos what side they're on, and that we are in spiritual warfare. But people continue to spend their lives sound asleep, and it's a shame. It really is. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you. May peace be with you.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Today we're going to be talking real quick. It's not going to be a long video, but we just want to point out, just so you see how blatantly obvious these symbols are in every music video, in every song. If you look hard enough, you'll hear it in the lyrics, or you'll see the symbols of the occult in the videos, as well as in movies and television shows. Today we're going to talk real fast and point out obvious Illuminati symbols in the new song Pillow Talk by Zane or Zahn. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I don't know who he is, to be perfectly honest. But it's my job as a disciple of Christ to look at these videos and try to point out the obvious signs. There's many in this one, as you'll see in the video playing with this audio. This man Zahn or Zane, as I'll keep referring to him as both since I don't know which one it is, he is doing the blatant 666 over his all-seeing eye symbol, which you'll see all of these musicians do now. If you're naive out there and you think that this is a coincidence, that are you posing in pictures with your friends when you get together at parties or family get-togethers? Are you all putting your making the 666 sign and putting it over your eye in the photos? Oh, okay. But it must be a coincidence, right? Because everybody does this. This is normal. Oh, right. They're supposed to be trolling people. They're doing it deliberately. I'm sorry. They're speaking to one another. It's an occult hand gesture. These people speak in symbols. Just because you haven't been raised to understand that doesn't mean that it's not real. Don't be naive to think that they're pulling the wool over your eyes, because they are. Okay? So here he is, obviously already announcing that he's a member of the occult. There's actually pictures you can find of this guy online, as well as his band members from One Direction, where they're wearing t-shirts with the all-seeing eye, the pyramid, satanic symbols on their shirts and their clothing. In this video, you'll see a lot of these symbols as we go along. We're just going to show you basic images. We're not going to actually show you the video part of it. So we'll flash you some of these basic symbols where you see pyramids. You'll see the all-seeing eye being shown just the one eye, which is the all-seeing eye of the devil. The all-seeing eye of Lucifer, which you'll see on the back of the dollar bill inside the pyramid, which is another coincidence, of course. These things are just there. You know, somebody just had an artistic vision on the back of the dollar bill. They just wanted to put a pyramid with an eye. It doesn't mean anything. It's only currency. It's only something that every one of us has in our day-to-day life. But it doesn't mean anything. Oh, okay, it does mean something, but it doesn't mean that. Sure, whatever you want to think. The job is to wake you up to stop being naive. Just stop being naive. So you'll see some of those symbols here. You'll see the upside down pyramid with two women boxing each other. They're greased up, and I don't know if they're naked or not, but they're standing in front of an upside down pyramid, Illuminati symbol. They both appear to be wearing horns in their heads, either referencing Baphomet or the devil himself. You'll notice there's a woman with thorns coming out of her face, gold thorns, of course, because gold is so symbolic to the Illuminati. You'll see a woman with Warzone tattooed on the side of her neck. Like I've said in our other videos, we are at war, okay? Warzone, somebody will see this and they'll actually believe that Warzone on her neck is referencing either the war in Afghanistan or the current war going on, or some type of war zone within their love for each other. Huh? Come on. You really think that's what it means? Let's not be naive about it. They're talking about the spiritual war. All of these videos, they're talking about the spiritual war that is going on. Okay, so you'll see the tattoo of Warzone, and then you'll see a tattoo of Paradise. Okay, so what do you think they're referencing in Paradise? Maui? They're talking about heaven. Okay, they're talking about the war that's going on between heaven and how the angels above, the angels versus the angels that were sent down here, Lucifer and his fallen angels, because that's the war that's going on. It's been going on since the beginning of time. And now that we're in the end times, these people are trying to recruit you, and technically they are, if you're someone who doesn't believe in Christ, who is Buddhist, or just believes in peace, or just believes in, something that doesn't have anything to do with Jesus, then you are working on their side, because they've convinced you that Jesus isn't real when he is real, when he is the only truth. So just again, another coincidence, war zone in Paradise, implying the war that's going on here on earth, the spiritual war, and in the spiritual realm, the war that's going on. Here you just take a look. I mean, this is in every music video, but again, it must be a coincidence that they're all just putting these symbols in these videos because you don't seem to understand how the brain works. They're conditioning you with these symbols because when they usher in the Antichrist, which they're doing now,
these symbols aren't going to be foreign to you because they've beaten them into your head in all these movies, in all these music videos, and all these TV shows. They're showing you these symbols, one, to let you know they're here, two, to communicate with each other, to let other artists know that they're a part of it, and three, to condition your brain. So when this symbol is revealed as the new logo for the world government, or it's revealed as the new mark of the beast, your brain will already know the symbol. When you watch these things, you're in and out the state, okay? You might not notice that symbol. You might be looking at his face. You might look at the symbol and just say, ooh, moving triangles, interesting, very cool. It's not what it's there for. It's to condition you. Because when they bring this symbol out, the Antichrist symbol, you're going to accept it because you're going to already know it. You're going to be familiar with it. It's not going to be some huge foreign thing. They're conditioning you with it. So here it is again. It's the star. Some people look at it as the Star of David, the Zionist star, the 666. A lot of people believe it is actually the 666. If you count the diameter of it, it's 6 by 6 by 6. It's 6 pyramids inside of one another. Okay, that's important to know these things. The Bible is not a coincidence, obviously. So you need to take it literally, and you need to take Revelation literally. Okay, Revelation. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for the number is that of a man, and his number is 666. Okay? They're flashing the 666 at you. They're telling you who they work for. It doesn't mean that this guy Zane is the Antichrist. Of course he's not. He's a puppet. He's a puppet. But mainly Christians should be listening to this, and they should be waking up to see the symbols. If you're not, then please come back to Christ. Please be the prodigal son and come back. Okay? Look at these blatantly obvious symbols here. Look at this guy. Just another basic nobody musician who becomes famous that you all think achieved it because he's just so great in town. Listen to this. His song's awful. Most music's awful, but you listen to it over and over. It's repetitive. It gets beaten into your head, and then you enjoy it. Stop worshiping these false idols. I mean, look, he's bleeding black out of his eye, right? He's crying in black. What is that symbolic of? Out of his one all-seeing eye. Just like Rihanna's video, the Anti-Diary that we did a video on. If you haven't seen it, go take a look. These people are, there's purple, there's black. They're not bleeding blood. I'm not saying that they're not human beings. There's symbolism to it. Do not look at it and think that there's just some very artistic director that just said, we're going to have you bleed black. And then he says, well, why am I going to bleed black? Well, black's going to be symbolic of your love for this woman. And that's not how it works. Stop thinking that these people are creative and they're just making an artistic expression. There is an agenda behind all of it. So open your eyes. Again, nothing is here by coincidence. All of these symbols are placed there deliberately, strategically, to condition you, to get you to accept these things when they want. This is a call for an uprising. Welcome those in particular that are just filled with satanic symbolism. But I don't think I've ever come across a video quite like this. So even if you don't know this band, I recommend you watch this video. This is probably the most eye-opening satanic video that I've seen in a really long time, which exposes exactly what these Satanists do. It exposes all the symbols that I cover on this channel that others cover and expose. And you would think a video like this would be enough to snap somebody out of it, somebody in the masses out there who's asleep, to snap them out of their slumber and wake them up to real satanic imagery, showing you how the occult operates, showing you how MK Ultra works, It is absolutely vile. It is absolutely disgusting. And that is this song by the band Panic at the Disco. The song is called L.A. Devotee. And I don't know if there's a panic at the actual disco, but you would think people might panic when they see the hair of the lead singer, that this guy's going out in public looking like this. Hair looks like he got electrocuted. But let's start with the lyrics of the song before we get into the video, which is just a complete eye-opening experience. If you're someone who's asleep, it should wake you up. But the lyrics themselves tell you what's going on in Hollywood, how this whole thing works. I talk about it all the time. You don't get in unless you join these secret societies, unless you become a Satanist. Some of the lyrics of the song reveal, talking about their soul, talking about black magic. It starts off, you've got two black guys from Lovin' Too Hard and a black car that matches your blackest soul, talking about these people having black souls, talking about midnight whisperings, and he goes on to say the black magic of Mulholland Drive, swimming pools under desert skies, drinking white wine in the blushing light, just another L.A. devotee. Telling you what goes on in Hollywood. He says, sunsets on the evil eye, invisible to the Hollywood shrine. Saying this is the stuff that's going on in Hollywood, the black magic rituals, the lifestyle, it's all satanic. Telling you in plain sight, but people still don't pick up on it. They go, oh, come on, they're just being artistic. Oh, right. So let's get into the video. I mean, you know, a lot of the times when I do these videos, exposing music videos, I obviously take notes. I have to sit through it. This is almost 2 pages full of notes because the entire 4-minute video is nothing but satanic imagery flashed in your face. It starts with a girl who's wandering in a field. She falls down. You see her fall out, and what do they show? They show the gigantic pyramid inside of the circle, inside of the ritual circle, another Illuminati symbol, a satanic symbol, which dates back to ancient occultic civilizations. But this is just another satanic symbol. So it starts right off the bat showing you this imagery. Then we cut to a young boy who is tied down into a chair. Now this young boy is tied into the chair, and it's revealed as the video goes on that he's going through trauma-based mind control, electroshock therapy, as they tie him down and they put these electroshocks on his head. They're filming him, they're recording him, which these sick elitists like to do when they put these children through trauma-based mind control. Then we see druids walking inside of this room that the boy is tied down in their ritual garb. One man with the Baphomet, dressed up as the Baphomet. They're carrying a sacrificed animal, because that's how these Satanists operate. They sacrifice animals, they sacrifice humans. It's all about blood rituals. As the child is tied down in the chair, they start flashing the satanic imagery and start the trauma-based mind control on him. They even tell you this by cutting to a shot of a bird cage. The bird cage is an Illuminati symbol. It reflects the trauma-based mind control that these victims of trauma-based mind control go through. That's why you see on album covers, Miley Cyrus, Taylor Swift has images of her shot in magazines with all the bird cages in her home. All of them. Britney Spears, you name it. Rihanna, Beyonce, they show you the cage because they are trapped. They are victims of MK Ultra mind control, and they are slaves to the elitists, to the satanic system that runs and controls everything. We see shots of skulls representing skull and bones flashing in front of our faces on the screen. Of course, we see the all-seeing eye, because it wouldn't be an Illuminati video without the all-seeing eye. So we see the all-seeing eye flash in front of our face. We see the serpent, the snake, serping his way through. They flash that. So they use these flashing imagery. That's how mind control works. They flash this imagery. And you might not even pick up on it if you're watching this in full time. But they flash it, they flash it, they flash it. Your brain is still processing the imagery. You might not be, because you might not be on a conscious level when you're watching it. Because most people, when they watch television, are in an alpha state. That's how they're put under this hypnosis. So they're flashing the imagery over and over. Of course, the child is forced to drink out of a ritual cup. This is representing what really goes on in these rituals. They do have these goblets, these cups, and they drink blood out of these cups, because during the blood rituals, they drink the blood of their victims, whether it's an animal or a human being. And we see the singer of the band on the screen. What a surprise, if you slow down the frames, they actually even show his face matched up with the Baphomet's face. As you can see, the upside down pentagram and the Baphomet's face merging with his face. How much more obvious can this stuff get? And we're not even halfway through the video yet. So you see him with the Baphomet pentagram, the Baphomet face merging with his face. Of course, what else do we see? Lightning bolts. I talk about it all the time. Lightning bolts representing Satan. Luke 10:18, and he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. Of course they have it in there. They quickly flash this imagery. They flash the serpent quickly. They flash the lightning. They flash the Baphomet pentagram. What else do they start flashing? Well, not a surprise. They once again flash the all-seeing eye right in front of your face. Then they cut to the flashing of a moon. This is more pagan, satanic worship, as they flash the crescent moon in your face. Then they flash the sun, which is more satanic worship, flashing the sun in your face. Of course, they flash the pyramid once again. And these are just quick imageries that they're flashing in front of your face over and over and over and over as they indoctrinate the audience that's watching this. And they're even telling you in plain sight in this video how Hollywood works, how it works. The song is called L.A. Devotee. What do you think they're trying to say? They're telling you that these people who come through Hollywood, that come through these famous circles, that they are indoctrinated in Satanism. And many of them go through trauma-based mind control, MK Ultra trauma-based mind control. As you see this child go through the shock therapy, they show a skull. They cut to a skull that's covered, begins to get covered in blood, showing you the effects of the trauma-based mind control and the mind control that this child is now under, this satanic influence. Of course, what else do we see? Well, we see the Druids as they're performing their ritual on the animal. We see them pull the heart out of the animal. Now, this goes back even to ancient civilizations who continue to perform human and animal sacrifice to their gods. So they take the heart out and they eat of the heart. Now, in this video, they don't show them eat the heart because it would be too graphic, but you can see the heart. I talked about the Black Mass that occurred in Oklahoma City. Part of the ritual that occurred in Oklahoma City in this Black Mass was they ate the heart of a pig during this ceremony. This is how these Satanists operate. This is part of their ritual. So they're doing this in the video. And it couldn't be more obvious for people who were awake, but you would think maybe